Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about all of these people are suddenly coming online and they are walking away from MAGA. So, I guess it just got too much when the war broke out because, many of them are cowards. They are full of tough talk now that there's war and a possibility of many of them, because Donald Trump keep coming into the media saying many Americans are gonna be unalived from this war. Now all of a sudden they are running from being MAGA. It's real interesting. And man, I don't care. I don't feel sorry for these people. They are online whining like we should understand their position and, being a Trump supporter and now not being one at all. But at the end of the day, y'all, they fear war, especially the young ones. They fear there's a possibility they may have to go to war. And, no matter how tough these people talk, they are scared to DIE. Yes, they are scared of that, but they have no problem putting others, under, but they don't want to, I don't want that to happen to them. Biggest hypocrite ever. But yeah, so I seen many of them crying and sorry for how they voted. They are so sorry. Man, I am so not feeling these people, and I feel even less sorry for them. But you listen to them and see how you feel. And by the way, um, grab up your 12 Tribes on Earth products. And also, starting Friday, there is a sale on shampoo. And it will be on Etsy, Shopify, and TikTok Shop. You will be able to get the shampoo at 25% off. So, if you need the link, just go to my community tab on YouTube. All of the information is right over there. So let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. Okay, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you. But you know what I also noticed, y'all, too, about this? I notice all of the ones that regret their vote, they're all white people. So I guess the black MAGAs, y'all must be diehards because none of you are coming out saying you regret your vote. Coonan Coonan must be a serious illness. That's all I got to say. All right, let's get started. Thank you for the ones.
There are white people going viral right now for their regret over voting for Donald Trump. And I put that word into heavy quotation marks because I genuinely question if they even know what the word regret means. One woman in particular got on TikTok crying a whole theatrical production about how people are not greeting her with open arms, how they're being mean to her in her comment section. Lady, are you fucking for real? Somehow you are the victim, not the millions of people harmed by the very system that you voted to prop up not once, not twice, but 3 fucking times. Not the immigrants who lost their family members to deportation or concentration camps, not the communities of color who have been terrorized by the very policies that you voted to enable. You're the victim because people were mean to you in your comment section. And this tells me everything I need to know about your regret. You're not sorry, you're uncomfortable, and you're confusing the two. You claim that you're doing the work, yet at the first sign that that work becomes difficult, you make videos crying to garner sympathy for yourself. So the emotional labor falls on everyone else again. And then to make it worse, there's a whole slew of people in her comment sections coddling her. Oh, you're such a good girl because you realize that you made a mistake by voting for him 3 times. It's so brave of you to speak up. Then some of you have the fucking audacity to police how other people respond to this video. Specifically, the people that MAGA spent years targeting: people of color, the LGBTQ community, immigrants. You want them to welcome ex-MAGA with open arms. You want them to perform forgiveness for your comfort. The people that we should all have sympathy for are the ones who have been harmed, not the ones who do the harming and are now sad because everyone remembers. But here's the part that really gets me. Same crying video. She said she won't be voting in future elections. So instead of working to dismantle the oppressive system that you helped build, your solution is to throw your hands up and do nothing but cry online. That is not remorse. That is not doing the work. That's pandering for likes and comments to appease your praise kink. That's demanding forgiveness without actually earning it. Look, if people want to coddle ex-MAGA voters, that's your prerogative. Nobody can stop you for handing out participation trophies. But if you are an alleged regretful MAGA, do not expect anyone to forgive you. Do not expect a warm welcome. Do not expect marginalized communities to throw you a fucking parade. Do the fucking difficult work. Sit with your discomfort. Sit with the fact that people are rightfully angry at you, and sit with the fact that your regret doesn't undo any of the damage that you caused. The only way you will maybe, and that's a big if, be welcomed back into a society that is rightfully skeptical of you is if you spend the rest of your life proving that you are worth redemption. That means voting for progressive candidates who actually want to help people. That means showing up to protests. That means putting your fucking body on the line. That means doing the hard work, even when nobody is clapping for you. Otherwise, save your fucking tears and go cry about it in your journal.
You know, I thought it would be easier the more I talked about leaving MAGA, being a 3-time Trump voter. But I have to be completely honest with you that it's not getting easier, and it actually feels like it's getting more difficult because I'm gaining more empathy. And I don't think people really realize how counterintuitive the hate that I receive when you can take one look at my page and see that I am doing the work. I read a comment this morning that I'm not stitching because I don't want hate to come our way, but you'll understand why I'm reading it. I've been deconstructing from Christianity and left MAGA. I do not speak about it because the hate you receive from the left is no different from the hate you received when you were in the cult. I'm just minding my own business and rewiring my whole belief system. What people don't understand is how hard it is to actually wake up and realize your entire life has been a lie, and now you have to start over from scratch. I'm not going to allow any negativity from anyone into my life. It's hard enough to do this. I can't see. I had to stop and gather myself. Not only that, I'm not going to be a part of any political party or religion ever again. So the expectation of the left thinking we have to vote blue now in order to make amends or something is not something I want to be a part of. The amount of "I'll never forgive you" I see in your last video is enough for me to never try to speak up on anything that's happened to get me here. My entire family is deep Southern conservative Christian Republicans. It's been buried into my whole system since birth. Seeing my truth and removing myself from it has been the hardest thing I've ever done. I don't really know what else to say other than, like, I don't think that this is what the left wants. You've been shouting for people to wake up for years, and people do. And you just want to harp on, and I get it, that it didn't happen soon enough. And I don't believe that. I can't believe that. I have too much hope in my soul to roll over and die. I don't know what the solution is, but I know it's not to beat people while they're already down.
I am a triple Trumper, and I left MAGA. Let me explain why I left. For years, I was able to rationalize supporting him, even though he was doing all these terrible things, because I didn't give a shit. But the day everything changed and I left MAGA was when he did the same bad thing he's been doing for the last 9 years, but it affected me a little bit. I couldn't take that. How could he cross that line? I mean, he crossed it over and over and over and over again, and I didn't really think about it, but I can't let this go on. I mean, I just had the wool pulled over my eyes and it wasn't even my fault. And I've totally changed as a person, even though this happened 3 weeks ago. So you can't really get mad at me because I'm a different person. None of the things you say apply to me because I'm good now. I take full accountability, but I didn't do anything wrong. I couldn't have learned things or decided to show empathy.
MAGA are losing their minds tonight as they're feeling betrayed by Donald Trump as he's becoming friends with Zohran Mamdani. Now, if you missed it, Zohran Mamdani visited the White House today, and he went there with the specific purpose to sell a public housing project to Donald Trump. And he was successful because he played to Donald Trump's ego. He even brought props. Check this out. He came equipped with these fake newspapers to stroke Donald Trump's ego. And MAGA is absolutely flipping out as they don't understand how Donald Trump is falling for this. Why is their hero siding with who they perceive as their enemy? But MAGA just doesn't understand. Donald Trump does not care about anything. He doesn't stand for anything except himself. And so long as you stroke his ego, so long as he can say he gets all the credit, that's all he cares about. He will side with anybody that agrees to those things. And MAGA are absolutely losing their minds. And no Trump watch delivery this week will soothe it. Well done, Zohran.
One of my favorite categories of videos online is MAGA fans realizing that Donald Trump is a complete fraud, a total failure who is not doing any of the things he promised to do when he was running for president. And matter of fact, he's doing the exact opposite and enriching himself, his friends, and everyone around him while he does it. And that's exactly what I have for you today. I just came across this video of this MAGA fan, this diehard Trump voter, reacting to Trump's tariffs being deemed illegal and unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, and he's not happy. He says the administration has failed, they've given him and the people around him nothing, and maybe he's not a Trump fan anymore. And I also have some other videos of MAGA fans reacting to some recent news, including the Epstein files, where they are not happy with Donald Trump. So before we do any of that, please make sure to subscribe down below, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about these clips, and if you'd like to see more of them, I'm happy to bring them to you. I love talking about stuff like this. If you're on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to rate the show 5 stars and follow along. And without further ado, let's get into it. So I actually want to start with this opinion piece from the Wall Street Journal. I only want to read you one paragraph from it, but it's significant. The Wall Street Journal is owned by Rupert Murdoch. Now, the paper is not right-wing by any stretch of the imagination. It's pretty center, but their editorial board, on the other hand, is pretty right-wing. They like Donald Trump, and they just wrote this opinion piece yesterday saying Trump demeans himself as he attacks the Supreme Court. And I just want to read you this first paragraph. Donald Trump owes the Supreme Court an apology to the individual justices he smeared on Friday and the institution itself. Mr. Trump doubtless won't offer one, but his rant in response to his tariff defeat at the court was arguably the worst moment of his presidency. Now, I don't know if it's the worst moment of his presidency. I think covering up the Epstein files might do that, but to each their own. Everybody has their opinion. At least they're saying it. You know what I mean? At least they're saying it. And so I want to show you this first clip of this guy reacting to the tariffs being struck down, and he's not happy even a little bit. Watch.
The Supreme Court has ruled that Trump's tariffs are unconstitutional. Golden age update, guys. We've got nothing. We might have to pay back $150 billion to other countries and nations and businesses. Meanwhile, the American people have been screwed this entire time as prices have went up on the tariffs, and now it's been ruled unconstitutional where we may be having to pay it back. This administration's a joke. It's over. This administration is an absolute travesty. We've got nothing. No mass deportations. We've got no actual release of the Epstein files. So many more to go. We have no tariffs. They're unconstitutional now. So everything you voted for is a complete lie. Trump is a complete lie. It is ridiculous. I'm tired of it. Welcome to the golden age.
So we've all been saying this for years, by the way, that Donald Trump is a lie. He's a fraud. Everybody around him is a complete fraud. This guy, I guess, is just waking up now because of the Supreme Court, which I don't know why this was the thing to push him over the edge, but I guess it did it. It just sent him over. But the golden age update, you heard it. There's nothing, none of the promises are being fulfilled. Donald Trump is completely backtracking. He hasn't released the Epstein files. Everybody's going to have to pay, or I guess the government has taken all of this money from us. Are they going to give us a refund? Probably not. Probably not. We're going to have to pay the money to other countries, as he just said. He's not happy. And again, I don't know why it's taking people this long to see that Donald Trump is a fraud. It is, though. And he outlines it decently well, that Donald Trump hasn't given anybody anything. The country is not doing anything well. Prices continue to go up, and Donald Trump continues to rake in the cash while everybody else suffers. So love seeing this MAGA guy rage. And the final thing I want to say is, he said everything you voted for is a complete lie. Who's we? Who's you? I didn't vote for this. You did. He's trying to put the onus on other people. He voted for Donald Trump. Don't get it twisted. We didn't. He did. So the next clip I want to show you is from another MAGA fan who says the government is a joke full of jesters. So I guess he's insulting them. And let's see what he has to say about Donald Trump and a recent action he took.
I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty pissed off right now. And regardless of politics, every single American should be as well. Donald Trump just issued an executive order designating glyphosate-based herbicides as critical to national defense. The order also grants legal immunity to domestic producers. If you're in the know, immediately you would think, what is RFK doing? Didn't he build his entire reputation?
Donald Trump is losing his base. The MAGA podcasters are running for the hill. You don't get much more MAGA than Liz Wheeler. How MAGA is Liz Wheeler? She was one of the people who showed up at the White House back in February and held up the Epstein files binder. And she goes, I've got the Epstein files exclusive. She held it up with all those other influencers showing what they got. And now here's what she posted. Pam Bondi's testimony was a total disaster. In one exchange, Congressman Jerry Nadler asked Bondi some very straightforward questions. How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating? And in response, Bondi lost it. I didn't hear any number. I didn't hear any explanation. All I heard was a raised tone of voice, hurled insults, a flustered demeanor, and filibustering. And she goes, I don't think the Democrats were acting in good faith, whatever. But she goes, but Bondi's catastrophic showing yesterday and her entire handling of the Epstein files for the last year are exactly what not to do as Attorney General. You were literally there holding the binder. You were one of the people she had back in February. And by the way, here is what Liz Wheeler said on her podcast the other day. Let's play it.
Jamie Raskin jumps in and says, I told you, Attorney General, beforehand not to filibuster. And Pam Bondi then responds very combatively, you don't tell me things, you washed up. And then whether she's talking to Raskin, whether she's back to talking to Nadler, she says, you're not even a lawyer. I mean, you want to talk about theatrics here. Here's the thing. She goes, you don't like my answer.
Then here's what Joe Rogan had to say. Let's play it.
So we know Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem sent the torture video to Epstein. This is in 2009. So Epstein was saying that. Where are you? Are you okay? I love the torture video.
Jeez.
I am in China. I'll be in the U.S. second week of May. What the fuck, man? And why is his name redacted? Why would your name be redacted if you're not a victim? Like, this is what's crazy about all this.
Andrew Schulz, let's play it.
So now that we know that everybody from Trump, Patel, Bondi, Bongino, like everybody that was involved in this, this is just a hoax. We don't have anything. Like they're all on record saying versions of this, right? With the latest tranche, all of that is a lie.
Yes.
Right? Has it been proven effectively that is complete falsehood?
What exactly is falsehood?
The statements that this is just a Democrat hoax and this is, I don't even know what that means.
And then you have the Tommy Lawrence podcast and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's play it.
We have the leader of our party and our president attacking Taylor Swift, their favorite artist. That's not very good. It's things like that that are ridiculous. Like,
okay, I want to show you one of my favorite parts of the Bondi hearing, though. It was Moskowitz's question of Bondi. Let's just play that.
Now, Madam Attorney General, I have like 25 seconds left. So because I'm curious, and I'd like to see you flip to the Jared Moskowitz section of the binder. I'm interested to see what staff provided on the oppo on me. And because we're in the Olympics, I'm going to give it a grade.
A year in, and we're in another war, and we've got American troops being killed. I think it's time for America to rip the Band-Aid off, and we need to have a serious conversation about what the happening to this country, and who in the hell are these decisions being made for, and who is making these decisions.
I honestly think we're nearing the end of MAGA.
MAGA is, I think people are realizing it was all a lie. It was a big lie for the people. What MAGA is really serving in this administration, who they're serving is their big donors. Those are the people that get the special favors, they get the government contracts, they get the pardons, or somebody they love or one of their friends gets a pardon. And it's the foreign countries that are running the show here.
Thought it would be easier talking about leaving MAGA as a 3-time Trump voter than it is, but some of y'all are really mean. And I get this was me this time last year, but that doesn't matter because, again, my feelings matter. Yours never mattered. The level of hate I'm getting is unreal. People telling me to have accountability, to put the work into my community instead of coming on the internet and crying for myself. Like, you just don't get it. So much for the tolerant left. You guys are exactly how the right describes you. Like, how do you not get that this shit is hard?
I left MAGA, and here's why. My name is Jenny, and I am former MAGA. I'm 51 years old. I've only been out of MAGA for 2 years. So I spent the first 49 years of my life in the alt-right, Christian nationalist, white supremacist, prepping community, eventually becoming a Mormon trad wife. And now I've had a very significant change to my life, my ideology, and my politics. A couple months ago, I decided I wanted to write a breakup letter with Donald Trump right after the inauguration. I did actually email this to the White House and print up a paper copy, put a stamp on it, and mail it to President Trump. Has not responded to it, but I just want to read my breaking up with Donald Trump / MAGA letter for you. I sort of wrote this in the tone of like a middle school girl because they're the queens of breakups, right? Hey, Donald, I know you're busy burning food for Gaza and spray tanning, but I needed to sit you down for a minute and talk about us. This isn't easy. We've been together for a while. I stood by you when everyone said you were unhinged. I defended you at Thanksgiving dinners with my Mitt Romney and Joe DeSantis friends and family. I wore the damn hat. I waved the flag. I thought we were building something real. But the truth is, I was in love with a version of you that never actually existed. So yeah, I'm breaking up with you. I left MAGA, and here's why. Number one, you love bombed me, then discarded me, and it feels like I'm going to get whiplash. In the beginning, you swept me off my feet. You told me you drained the swamp. You said you'd protect the little guy. You promised to bring jobs back and make America great again. You talked tough, and I thought that meant strength. But it was all a show, wasn't it? Turns out you didn't drain the swamp. You are the swamp. You didn't protect the little guy. You handcuffed him in the middle of his kindergarten graduation while giving tax breaks to billionaires. And all that greatness, it was smoke and mirrors, staged for the cameras. I thought you loved America, but really you just love attention. You did all of this so that you could stand on the balcony of the White House with jets flying overhead wearing that dumb red tie and misshapen suit so you could post some good selfies to your ex feed. Number 2, I lost myself in you. Do you know what it's like to wake up and realize you don't recognize yourself anymore? I used to sort of care about character, about kindness, about truth. But somewhere along the way, after George W. left office, right after Obama,
I think we are closer than ever to the MAGA movement completely crashing and burning right in front of our faces. And I know that's something that people in politics have been saying for years, that it's about to happen, it's right around the corner. But I think Trump is especially vulnerable among his base right now, not only because of the Epstein file cover-up and everything that's going on there and Trump's many failures and broken promises, but because of him bombing Iran in the middle of the night, engaging in a war that nobody wants. Today, in the 24 hours after, I have seen so many Trump voters online outright revoking their support for Donald Trump or criticizing him publicly, which is something that many of them have not done before. So I want to show you a couple of videos I found online of people wearing MAGA hats, criticizing Donald Trump for bombing Iran and more. Before I do any of that, though, please make sure to subscribe down below, drop a like on the video, comment. Let me know what you think about this story and everything going on. Let me know what you're seeing online. If you're on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to rate the show 5 stars and follow along. It goes an incredibly long way. I greatly appreciate you. And I hope you're staying sane today and taking care of yourself because these topics can be quite heavy and overwhelming. So without further ado, I want to get into it. Let's just start with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I talked about this on the show earlier today, but I came across this tweet as well, where she said, and this has gone viral, 1.1 million views. The Trump administration actually asked in a poll how many casualties voters were willing to accept in a war with Iran. She said, how about 0, you bunch of sick effing liars? She is calling Donald Trump and his team sick effing liars, which I think we all agree on, that they are sick effing liars. But I'm glad she's finally waking up to this realization. We voted for America first and 0 wars. And again, I don't want this to come across as me praising Marjorie Taylor Greene, complimenting her as if she's had this tremendous revelation and she's sane. She is not. She is crazy out of her mind. She still very much agrees with Donald Trump on a lot of his policy positions. But when Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling Donald Trump a sick effing liar, that's how you know things are pretty bad. What about Evan Kilgore, a Trump voter who's been supporting Donald Trump? He said on Twitter today, kiss the midterms goodbye. Israel gets what Israel wants. This Trump administration has been a disaster. Only the paid shills and cult members won't admit it. Screw the GOP, America last. What about Owen Schroyer, who used to work at Alex Jones's company, InfoWars? That's how insane he is. That's how far right he is. Of course, used to be a huge Trump supporter. And now he posts today, Trump to Iranians, go overthrow your corrupt government, Americans with a corrupt government. And he included this GIF of, a shocked face being like, yes, America has a corrupt government. And this is coming from a very, very far right guy. So these are just a couple of examples on Twitter so far. I talked about even more on the show earlier today, but I'm seeing so many examples of this. But now I want to get into a video where I thought this video was fascinating because it should be like a psychological experiment, a psychological evaluation maybe, where this guy is wearing a MAGA hat. He is still defending Donald Trump. He's one of his biggest fans. His entire social media persona is dedicated to defending Donald Trump. But in this video, he's criticizing Trump without trying to go too hard on him.
You are trying to establish, and I think what the administration is trying to establish, is that Trump, and perhaps people like him, but mostly Trump, is the only legitimate ruler of this country. If you get rid of the idea that everybody should have a say in their society, if you say, well, it's not okay for Fulton County to have voted for Joe Biden. I don't care that they did by almost 12,000 more votes than they voted for Trump. And they voted for Trump, but we should get rid of those because Trump really should be the person in charge. And similarly, if you take those ballots and those lists and say, I think we should just get rid of all the people in Fulton County because they tend to vote Democratic. Or I think we should just get rid of all the women, which is not necessarily happening there, but it's happened in other states because they tend to vote Democratic, which they do, by the way. Women began to break away from the Republican Party and switch to the Democratic Party in 1980, and that gap is actually quite large now. What you're saying is that we don't really believe in democracy. We want to make sure we only have our voters show up. And if we don't win, nonetheless, that means that the votes are illegitimate. Even if the person legally voted and all that, by definition, those are illegitimate. And that's a really important concept right now because Donald Trump his popularity has dropped to an average of, I think it's 39.2%. He's underwater on every single issue. They are in real trouble. His mind is deteriorating by the minute as his policies are coming into play. You're seeing things that, of course, are breaking my heart, but it is what it is. This is what he has said he would do, and he did it. The trade agreements that have made America so incredibly prosperous, he just tore up. And now what you're seeing is other countries simply making their own trade agreements without the U.S. So Canada, for example, last week, or maybe it's earlier this week, I've actually lost track of what day it is, made a really big trade agreement with India. And the U.S.
I want to make something very clear. The only reason you're leaving MAGA is because your little life isn't going the way you thought it would under Donald Trump. But you don't give two shits about all the people you hurt with those votes.
Yes, that's true. They don't care. And no, I don't feel sorry for them whining online and crying and all that. The damage is done. You can't undo your vote now. So why even bother? All right, so you leave MAGA and what now? And what? So I'm not feeling sorry for any of these folks. I don't care how bad they feel over their vote. I could care less. I do not care. Zachariah Williams, thank you so much for your super sticker and support for my channel. Black RU 365, thank you for your super sticker and your support for my channel. Thank you. What they are doing is just trying to get people to feel sorry for them because we know they are the people that are not about accountability. They got the nerve to tell everybody else to be accountable while they're not accountable for anything. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. I do have one more live coming up, and it's one that's been trending online since the bombing began in Iran, and that is #SendBarron. So that will be at 3:45. I will see you then. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support. Shalom, family.